All right, Monday, April 13th. Let's get this started. We're kicking off with a senior checkpoint, as we usually do. 65 of you have submitted your senior quotes. I am still missing senior quotes from the following people: Raquel, Jonathan, which you're on here, so it'll be great. I'll touch base with you in just a second about what that looks like. David Cerna, if you have David Cerna as a friend, reach out to him. Stephen Cox, if you want to reach out to him to submit a senior quote. Mario Garcia, Alex Gonzalez, Armando Gonzalez, Alex Guijarro, Diego Prado, Javier Ramos, JT, and Jade Vela. If you know any of these people or you have their numbers, please reach out to them. I posted the link on Google Classroom so they can submit that as soon as they can. It's not too late to pre-order your yearbook. It's still $35 until the end of May. The link to purchase it is on Stars Nation on the bio, or you can go to jostens.com and search Uplift Infinity Preparatory. Make sure you click on Uplift Infinity Preparatory and not Uplift Infinity Elementary, as that'll take you to the primary yearbook, which, I mean, if you want to buy the primary yearbook, go ahead. They're doing a great job there, but it's not your high school yearbook. So.
Good morning, Uplift Infinity Stars. It's nice to be able to communicate the rest of the journey for semester 2, quarter 4 for you today. I know this period has been filled with indecision and changes, and you guys have been fantastically flexible and rolling with it and doing your best. I really believe we have led the network in terms of your engagement, and I appreciate all that you've been doing. I also recognize some of you are working many hours. Some of you are helping to fund your families. Some of you are taking care of younger children or cousins, things of that nature. And online learning is difficult. It is harder than just the routine of showing up to class. So we appreciate the college-ready skills that you're showing and being motivated. This presentation is just to lay out the rest of the journey clearly. As we go through the requirements, they are set at a pace that we feel is supportive of everything else that's going on in life, but also meets the TEA requirements and the Uplift requirements, that you receive this credit. So there's never any question, and that you're ready for next year. That's key. We can't have 6 months off. That would be way too much catching up at the start of next year and all of next year, really. So I hope you enjoyed this video and get to learn a few things. And if you have any questions, definitely email myself or connect with your teachers. Thank you. Now, we're going with a two-pronged approach, and 100% of you will need to pay attention to the left side of this T-chart, the pass-fail quarter 4. Approximately 33 to 40% of you, depending upon the grade level, 25 to 40% are looking at the credit recovery and the grade improvement. Let's look at the pass-fail quarter 4 to start. So you have completed, if you've been online at all, between March 16th and April 10th, at least one assignment, probably 2 or 3 for a lot of different courses. Overall, this will be put into one grade so that during this time of getting everyone online, things are nice and balanced and fair while everyone was getting up to speed. You'll have a remaining assignment 2, assignment 3, and a possibly assignment 4 for the rest of this quarter. The reason why there might be 2 or 3 is because some teachers will choose to do the assignment and then have you reassess it or try again to make sure that you reach the level of passing. And let's say that you aren't capable because of your life circumstances right now in taking part in any of the classes that are offered during the next month. You can also take the no-risk final exam down at the bottom here during May 11th through 13th. And if you were to pass that and show that you have the skills for the next class, then you would also receive credit for quarter 4. At the conclusion of completing these generally 3 assignments, which means that you could be done by April the 24th, you'll have the chance to reassess, and then we'll get into a whole variety of additional extensions, whether it's individual ways that you can improve yourself, whether it's reading books, whether it's social emotional learning or career-based activities. We have Ms. Panzer's sister online this Wednesday. There will be ongoing education. It just won't go towards quarter 4 in the pass-fail grade. So to just look at quarter 4 in general, you might think of the rest of it as little balls here that are 1 assignment, 2 assignments, done, 1, 2, 3, done. And each week will get a little bit narrower and a little bit narrower as we move forward, if you're keeping up with everything. So really make a big push during the course of this week. Credit recovery and grade improvement will be individually communicated to you from your teacher if you're in that situation, as well as Ms. Villanueva, Dr. Fuller. They're our college counselors. They are all working to make sure you know exactly what you need to stay on track for graduation. We'll be using this rubric and scoring everything in PowerSchool from now on, starting today. So all of your grades and all of those assignments will get feedback on Google Classroom so that you can continue to improve. But in terms of PowerSchool, we'll just be using our deadlines and engagement rubric across the board. So either you will show limited understanding of the material, you'll be approaching our expectations, meeting expectations, or exceeding expectations. Those percentages will go straight into PowerSchool. They will continue to show during the course of this quarter 4, so you can see where you are and see whether you're passing or failing. And at the end of this quarter, this will all be put into either a passing or a P or an I, an incomplete, which means that you will need to continue during the summer or into next year to meet the expectations for this class. Semester 2, the average will be quarter 3 and semester 1, so that in terms of GPA, it's an important equation for you to know. And everything else, I believe, has been in some way, shape, or form communicated at this point. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can always email me or your grade level coordinator or your teacher.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing the screen real quick. In case you guys have any questions, we actually do have Mr. Schwabro here live with us, or you can reach out to any of us. So I'm opening up the floor for any questions you may have.
And I've hyperlinked the district document in as well, just so you guys can look at all the details if you want to. This one's meant to simplify, but if you want details, they exist.
I have a question about assignments, because I know some classes like environmental, I've already had like multiple assignments for that class. So which one will count towards assignment 1 and assignment 2? Is there any, or does the teacher just pick that?
The teacher will work with you on that. This was meant to give us kind of a steady approach so that nobody's too overwhelmed, but everybody's challenged. And that's this gives kind of the ballpark. With ESS and grade 12 and grade 11, there are nuances that the 9th and 10th graders won't have. So bear in mind that you guys are going to have some things that your teacher will now take this message and say, these are the 3 or these are the 4. Okay. Everybody's a little different, and you guys are certainly the most different. But at least you should know that it's not going to be an overwhelming amount. And as you complete things, you'll be getting a step closer, and you'll know where the finish line is.
Yeah, to piggyback off that, what I'm doing for my classes is everything we've done up to last Friday is going to go into Q1, or the first grade, I should say. And then, if you were missing anything for whatever reason, you've got the time to redo it. And so now that you know that they'll go into PowerSchool and they're going to be official, like, do them, get them done, turn them in, and then, you'll have nothing to worry about. So the people who have anything to worry about is the people who haven't been doing anything right now. And so those are the kind of people we need to reach out to and make sure that they're getting their work done. Any more questions on this before we move on? Cool. I think you did a great job of summarizing that for us. Thank you for making that video.
No problem. I'm trying to simplify as best we can. It's a complex world right now, and I appreciate you guys' patience with it. Getting closer to simplification as well as some celebration.
So you actually make my job easier because I get to skip that part of the presentation. So we'll skip this part here. And we'll skip that part there.
That's my primary goal in life, really.
Cool. Next thing, college signing day, which is our big thing going on today that I'm talking to you guys about. This is a communication that was sent out not too long ago. Says Uplift Scholars, although college signing day will be pushed back to a later date, it does not mean we won't celebrate you in a fun, creative way. We will host the first ever virtual college signing day that will air during the first week of May and broadcasted on all social media channels as well as uplifteducation.org. This event will be known as CSD TV and will be your time to shine by sending in creative 7-second videos announcing your college, military branch, or career of choice. So I reached out to some of my staff members and we created this example, which you guys have watched already, but we'll replay it for you just so you had an idea of what you're needing to do. Hello, my name is Bernardo Frias, and in 2013, I'll be graduating from the University of Texas at Arlington. Woo!
I'm Dr. Fuller, and I will be graduating from California Lutheran University with the class of 2006.
Hello, my name is Chad Schwabro, and in 2020, I will graduate from Bowling Green State University, the Ohio State University, and Lehigh University.
My baby's name is Emma Zay, and in 2042, she will be graduating from Duke University.
So awesome. Thank you so much for your help, everybody who pitched in. I think this is basically what it's going to look like. You'll have the congratulations seniors thing here at the bottom. Obviously, all of the Uplift High School crests here, which I didn't have the time, nor did I want to go look those up. So I just copy and pasted ours all the time. Obviously, your name will be here. The Infinity I will be here. And then the university that you wanted to go to or the ones you got accepted to or things of that nature, or your career path or your military branch you're going to go into. So what do those expectations look like? There's a very nicely created PDF document on your assignment that I posted for you on Google Classroom, but I'll go over it with you verbally just so that you have that in your mind as well. Your video must be no longer than 7 seconds. All videos that are longer than 7 seconds will be returned and asked to be re-recorded. Why 7 seconds? That's such a weird number, right? Well, 7 seconds is the amount of time it takes you to say the script that they have for you, which I have on the next slide. So give me a second and I'll talk to you in just a second about what that looks like. Number 2, it says all videos need to be recorded horizontally, not vertically. And I put a little line here so you guys know what that means. Horizontally means horizontally facing the horizon, right? If you had art, you know what that means. Not vertically, so not like you're taking a selfie with your friend on Instagram or Snapchat or whatever. Flip the phone horizontally so that it's full screen. All videos that are not recorded horizontally will be returned and asked to be re-recorded. Number 3, this is the fun part. Please have your college swag present in the video. This can be a piece of paper. This can be your computer screen. You just flip it over or something. Or you might already have apparel from them. Or it can be your acceptance letter or like the folder that they send it in or something, right? Like have something that shows off where you're going or what you're going to do. Number 4 is the most important part. The deadline for this is this Monday. On Google Classroom, I made it Sunday at 11:59, so I have Monday to track you down and hunt you down. If I have to go to your house and record you through your windows, I will do that. But like, we need to get these done, okay? This is a hard deadline. So Monday, that's it. If you don't get it done by Monday, they're not going to take them anymore. I'm only collecting these to send them to CMO. And so that's why I'm giving myself a little bit of leeway. But if you don't get them in by Monday, that's it. You're not going to be featured in the video. Any videos sent after this date or any revised videos after initial submission will not be accepted. So I'm trying to filter out all the ones that won't get accepted by CMO. So make sure they're 7 seconds, make sure they're horizontally recorded. And then a little bit more of an insight here. This is what your script should look like. So if you're going to a college or university, you will say, my name is, whatever your name is, from Uplift Infinity, obviously. And in 2024, I will graduate from whatever college or university you're going to graduate from. If you want to add the woo, like I did, go for it. If you want to be just real straightforward and to the point, do that too. Like whatever style suits you best. If you're going to a military branch or a new career, it's a very similar kind of statement. or sentence stem, I should say. My name is whatever your name is, from Uplift Infinity. After high school, I will serve my country in the United States, I don't know, Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, Space Force. Number 2, my name is whatever your name is, from Uplift Infinity. After high school, I will begin my career in the medical field, or engineering, or mechanic, or IT professional, or if you're going to go into a career and you already have that in mind, this is where you show that off. If you have any kind of special gear you have to wear for that career, put that on. If you want to become a mechanic, have some wrenches with you and have like your hands dirty because you just changed the oil or something. Like really show off what you're going to go do. Being able to practice, being able to say it again. You won't trip across the stage going up there. You won't get interrupted because sometimes you get interrupted by the other person who's talking. So there's the magic of video editing right there. Yeah, like make this your own thing. Take your time to do it. You have between now and Sunday to get this done. Upload it to the Google Classroom assignment and have fun with it. Like really have fun with it. I got something in the chat here. Do we have to wear our Monday uniform? Maria, can you clarify that? Is that for the college signing day video? Yeah. You do not have to wear your Monday uniform. These videos are it's up to you to what you want to wear as long as it's school appropriate. They suggest doing the uniform thing if you're gonna do the flip the switch challenge or flip the switch TikTok thing or whatever. So at the beginning of the video, you'd have your uniform, then you flip the switch, and then you're all of a sudden wearing your UT whatever, or university or whatever. Great question. All right, I'll open it up to Q&A right now before we introduce Mr. Lyons, who will take over the rest of this meeting. So any questions you may have while we have Mr. Schwabro and Dr. Fuller here?
If I could chime in real fast about college signing day. I know some of you are a bit apprehensive about this because obviously it's not the most ideal situation. We don't get to sit on a bus and next to each other and be smelly and get lunch and go sit on the field and everything like that. Uplift is actively working towards having a similar type of event still at Globe Life Field sometime in August, but more details than that really aren't available to us. So this is sort of just one step, and then ideally in August, we can, right before you guys really truly go off to college and your careers in the military, you'll have the opportunity to actually go to Globe Life Field, I guess it would be, and truly celebrate in a fashion similar to what you were expecting for college signing day.
Okay, last call for questions or news or announcements before we move on to our exclusive Q&A with Mr. Lyons.
This is not how I saw my senior year going. So, right.
All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Lyons. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Lyons, for our exclusive Q&A session. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and then we'll put just you up there, and then you can see this pin video. There you go. Cool.
All right, what up, everybody? Looks like there's at least some of my former students, and then we have Tassine. Am I saying that right? Yeah, kind of. Okay.
Yeah.
I never got to teach you, but loved your response on the assignment you submitted. Awesome. But yeah, basically what I want to do is just check in with y'all and give you an opportunity here at the end to just ask questions. And then also I'm going to go over the document that we have that assignment on, just to kind of hit some key bullet points. But yeah, so before we go into that though, I wanted to give you guys a surprise announcement. So before school got canceled with the quarantine, I was actually going to come up that Wednesday after your spring break and surprise you all with some news about graduation. When was graduation rescheduled to, Mr. Frias?
I believe July 21st.
Okay. So, obviously we're being super flexible right now, but if that continues, or, if it changes at all, I wanted to let you guys know, no matter what, I will, 1, be there, and 2, I will be your commencement speaker, which is such an honor. And I'm so excited to be able to share that experience with you guys. The last class that I ever taught, the last of the Mohicans. So yeah, I'm really excited for that. Whenever it is, however it looks, I will be there to celebrate with you guys as you guys go off on your next step in life. So yeah. All right, let's go ahead. Do we have any chats for me?
Thank you.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you
appreciate it.
everybody at Infinity for the honor of being able to share that with y'all. Okay, let's go into some COVID stuff. I don't want to take up a whole bunch of your time. I know that the document and the videos, especially that second video, was long. And Frias and I worked really hard to try and condense it down, but it's a lot of information. So if you're kind of like still waking up, tune in right now. Okay, open your eyes a little bit. Wake up. I just had my cup of coffee. Okay, so the most important thing, why I did this, why Frias and everyone else did this and worked to create this COVID stuff for you guys, is not because everybody's going to get it and we should all be scared that the world's on fire. No, but we need to be prepared. And I think one thing that I am, worried about is if we're not prepared, especially you younger people, you could get COVID and not realize it. You could just have some mild symptoms, but then if you don't know how to act right in that moment when you're feeling a little unwell, then you could spread it to people in your family. So the big thing here is, what do we do in our home environment, whatever that looks like? If it's a house, if it's a 1-bedroom apartment with multiple people, you need to have a plan for how you're going to take anyone that gets sick or feeling unwell and be able to isolate them right away. Because if you're trying to figure out that in the moment, I mean, that's precious time that we don't want to lose. So I'm going to share my screen with y'all real quick. Let's see.
Cool.
Okay. So basically what this is, looking at the people who are online, some of you guys have submitted it, some of you haven't. Hello to everybody. What this is essentially, pretend that you get sick. What do you do in your home environment right away? Where do you go? What room do you use? Do you have a spare room? All of this stuff we talk about in that second video. It's 40 minutes long. You can listen to it on 1.5 speed, if you need to, if you're like worried about time. But the most important thing is that you go through this with people that you live with. Because I'm telling you, there are cases in Irving. And right now, like, to expect that your family could be impacted by this, that's a possibility. That's not to scare you. That's just so you understand that we need to be realistic and we need to plan. Because right now we can take care of only the things we can take care of. And you can take care of the planning in your household. So this document, pretending that you're sick, what do? We go through all that stuff in the video. Frias, will you scroll down to the last page where the first question on the last page? All right. So this, if you start self-isolation today, self-isolation is, I'm sick. I need to remove myself from anyone else that I come in contact with in my home. I need to go in a room. I need to use a separate bathroom if you have one. So if you're sick and you're self-isolating, how long is it going to last? In the video, we said 14 days, but you need to have 5 days without fever. It looks like the CDC is actually recommending like 7 to 10 days, and then like kind of 2 to 3 days without fever now. So things are constantly changing. But the key point there is if you're sick, at least probably 10 days, and make sure that you haven't had a fever in the last few days before you start interacting with your family members and the people you live with. Okay. We can switch back to the video now. Yeah. All right. So that's kind of basically what I wanted to cover. Just make sure that we corrected that information that's new. And now I just wanted to open it up to you guys. If you have questions, put them in the chat box. And I'm just here for you guys. If you haven't done the video, watch it with your family. Make sure that you have a plan. So that's what I got. Do we have any questions out there from the peanut gallery? Come on. Frias, you got any questions?
At this stage? You guys have time.
So, Mr. Lyons, we have a number of scholars who actively work, and and we even have some who are working more hours than they typically would because one or both parents were laid off or other situations are presenting themselves. What advice and processes would you give our scholars to help protect themselves and then in turn protect their families as well?
So number one, if you have to work, we need to make sure that, we're taking care of our own responsibilities, and, that's no judgment there, because we all got to do what we got to do. But if you're actively out working and you're around other people, you need to stay 6 feet away from other people, at least. And if you're in a public place around people, you should wear a face mask. If you don't have a face mask, there's videos on how to make them from cloths, bandanas. I also posted on my Instagram just a quick step-by-step, 2 rubber bands and a piece of cloth, how to make a face mask. So number one, wear a face mask. Number two, make sure that you're staying at least 6 feet away from other people, not touching things, washing your hands regularly. And then number three, if you have a cough or if you're not feeling well, you have a little bit of a fever, I know that we all need to work, but that's the point where you need to stop and you need to stay home and you need to self-isolate. So even if you got to work, if you're sick, you got to stay home, because one, you're protecting yourself and you're protecting other people that you work with, and you're self-isolating from your family members, so you're protecting them. Did I miss anything there?
No.
Okay. Ooh.
Nice.
Yes. Okay, so Sarah, great question. Sarah asks, how effective is hydroxychloroquine And is it actually the best medication for COVID as of right now? That's such a beautiful question because it's so relevant in the media right now. And seeing people's posts, like my family members on Facebook, I'm just like beating my head against a wall at the fact that this has turned into a controversy. So let's clear that up. Hydroxychloroquine has shown that there is some benefit. What that means is, yes, it probably is helpful. We haven't figured out the best regimen, what to use with it, other medications, but there is some benefit to hydroxychloroquine, probably. That being said, there are certain people that can't take that medication. Certain people with heart conditions, other issues, they can't take that medication because it does have some side effects, especially with the kind of the electrical rhythm of the heart. And basically, it's not, I think what's being circulated in the media is that it's potentially like not being used or being withheld from people. Literally, COVID patients that are in the hospital are getting hydroxychloroquine. They have been in the United States for a while. It was standard protocol in Italy for all of their COVID patients to get hydroxychloroquine unless they had heart conditions. So we're using that. It's not like if someone gets it and they go to the hospital that there's potentially this medication that could save them that they're not getting. No, they're getting it. And there is some benefit, but it's not this magic bullet that I think some people think that it is. There's probably a benefit. We haven't figured out exactly how best to use it, but people are getting it. Thank you for that question, Sarah.
Going
All right,
back to your
what else we got?
post thing, I'm seeing a lot of controversy in regards to people wearing gloves. Like going to the store and you got the gloves on, but then you're also touching other stuff, so you're actually spreading the germs. Talk to us about how efficient or how helpful gloves are or are not.
Mm-hmm. So gloves can be used really effectively. I kind of go back and forth. If I have to go out and run an errand, like, should I wear gloves? But I haven't as of yet. As long as you are washing your hands really thoroughly before, like you go out to the store, you touch some stuff, wash your hands really thoroughly before you touch your face. When you get home, disinfect anything that you had touched before washing your hands at home. If you're really mindful about that, then you don't need to wear gloves. I saw a great video of I think a doctor who wore gloves only when she left the house. And so she left the house, she put on gloves, and then she did some errands. And then before going into the house, she took the gloves off. I thought that was a really smart idea too. So there are different ways, but just the long story short, just being really aware and cognizant of your hygiene and making sure that your hands are clean when you're at home and before you touch your face or anything else. We got anything else out there? And disinfect your phone after you go out. Yes, Miss Panzer. Literally, don't let people touch your phone either. That's a really worrisome way that things can spread that we may not think about. All right. Well, I don't want to take up a whole bunch of your time.
I have another question for you, Mr. Lyons.
Yes.
A lot of the scholars on this phone call are all seniors, right? And they're in the midst, approximately 17 days away from having to choose their post-secondary institution of choice. What would you say to them, if there may be growing angst in terms of going far away from home and wanting to possibly stay closer? What would you say to them and their concerns with that and not wanting to be away from home amid the uncertainty that is currently in place?
Yeah. I mean, that's tough. I think, there's kind of different ways that we can react to this. We can, let the fear of COVID run our lives. We can, that's kind of one end of the spectrum. We can be in the middle where we plan, prepare, take actions necessary, but still have a sense of control. And then there's, the other end of the spectrum, which is where we just go about life as usual, which we should not do. So we want to be in the middle, where we're understanding the gravity of the situation and reacting to it appropriately, but you don't want to let it run your life and disrupt your life more than it needs to. So I really think that that's a personal kind of conversation that scholars in that situation need to have with themselves and then their family members. If it were me, I mean, I would, if I had a college that I was planning on going to, I would probably still go. And, if there were any family issues, then I would come back and, address them appropriately. But I mean, we're going to see the college landscape in the fall look different than what we would normally see. I wonder what the fall semester is going to look like for colleges as far as like virtual online classes and stuff like that. So just be flexible and, make sure you're taking precautions, but you're not letting it run your life. Sorry, I don't have much concrete direction there, but yeah, no.
Can I jump in here really quick, Mr. Lyons? Not
Yeah.
only to say I appreciate all the time and effort that you have dedicated to Infinity so far, but I also wanted to kind of piggyback for everybody, because today, in some ways, for all of us, I hope, means that there's more certainty kind of in your senior world right now. We don't have final dates as to when we're going back to school, but we've got set dates for prom, got set dates for college signing day, we've got set dates for graduation, and universities are going to kind of roll. So I wanted to share my experience from Mexico, which actually has had some major influenza breakouts, and I suspect that the U.S. may follow some of the things that they do. So essentially, we would do certain peak periods of the year. You couldn't go onto campus without having your temperature taken just at the doors, and teachers would rotate around and take temperatures. We have gloves, we'd have masks, but if you had a temperature, you were sent home, and you were sent home for at least a week. I think it may have been 2 sometimes, and things continued as normal, and you could do virtual school just fine from wherever you were. You just weren't going to come on campus and infect anybody else. And I suspect that as things decrease and we see less overrunning of the hospitals in the United States, that would be something that, whatever the situation or the disease may be, it's a way of preventing the spread on a school's campus or on a whatever campus it may be. So college campus as well. So think about it, and I hope that you're engaging with the online curriculum, because that will also be an ongoing part probably of college courses henceforth, so that if this happens, they're ready for it. That'd be my guess.
Yeah, that's interesting to hear, because we really haven't had an issue like that in our country. And
right,
so hearing how other places have troubleshooted that, it's going to be interesting in the winter, because I think we're going to see a decrease here over the summer, not just because it's warm, but because we're doing all this stuff now. But I mean, there will likely be waves, particularly when it gets a little colder. We may see another uptick in different areas of the country, and we just need to be flexible and follow the guidance of scientists and epidemiologists and public health experts.
For sure.
I have kind of a guilty pleasure question, so to speak. I'm seeing a lot of, I actually gave up fast food and eating out for Lent, right? But now that it's over, I can order what I'm hearing is contactless delivery. Tell me about the contactless delivery and how safe should I feel ordering food to be delivered to my house?
Yeah. Probably with some places you can feel really safe. I don't know what places those are because I'm not behind the scenes, seeing how every food is handled. What I can say is, like, right now, all the actions that you take have a certain degree of risk, and like generally they're pretty low risk, but what we're doing right now is just trying to cut out unnecessary risks. So, I mean, what my wife and I are doing is we're not really doing any, ordering of food outside. We're just making all our food ourselves. That doesn't mean that everyone else should do that. And if you're not doing that, then you're making bad choices. No, but that is a risk that we saw that we could cut out. So I think it's worthwhile to talk with your family and the people you live with and just say, like, what risks for outside contact and things like that can we cut out reasonably? So, yeah, I don't know about this contactless delivery because this virus doesn't just spread by contact necessarily. It's aerosolized. It's droplets in the air. So, yeah, unless all the workers just don't breathe while they make it. You got anything else, Sarah? I know you got some questions just in that big old brain of yours to see, and I see you on the video. Come on, I know you got something.
Honestly, I haven't really been keeping up with it, so no, I don't really have that many questions. So.
Okay, have you gone over kind of what you would do with your family if someone got sick?
Honestly,
it's okay if you haven't.
We've been kind of trying to avoid the possibility of it happening and like discussing it. So
it's good.
We haven't really.
So I mean, what I am struggling with, and you are not alone. I'm kind of encountering that a lot where I'm talking to students and people where it's like, no, we don't really want to go into this planning scenario because we just want it to not happen to us. So we're doing all this stuff. In medicine, we see people who have had skin cancer for years and they've had a mole that looks gnarly and they don't come into the doctor because they're worried about it. And so it's like, let me just put it on the back burner, not think about it, and just hope that it's okay. That's kind of what I'm encountering working with people right now is we don't want to plan because that requires you to actually acknowledge that your household could have this show up. But right now you can control how you react if you plan right now for that potential scenario. And the planning right now, like for those of you that have family members that have diabetes, that are older, you live with grandparents, you need to have a self-isolation plan in place if someone gets sick because their risk is tremendous. If you don't do something right away when someone gets sick, it's going to spread to everybody in your household. I mean, that's pretty likely. It's not likely. It's not like saying, this is going to come knocking on everybody's door. But I mean, there are people at Infinity where this will impact them. There's a decent amount of cases in urban. So it's really important to just recognize that. So, sorry, everybody. Being the negative Nancy here, but yeah. Do we have? Oh, yes. How long does COVID stay in the air? Thank you, Sarah. So research, I've been following it. I haven't checked the literature in the past 2 days, but we're seeing that it stays in the air longer than we originally thought. So there's two types of air spread. There's droplet, which is like sneezing, coughing, and it's like essentially kind of these microscopic but kind of bigger kind of particles of liquid that can float out and be within 6 feet. So droplet is one, and then aerosolization, which is where the microscopic particles can float in the air and extend distances and stay in the air for a longer time. That's obviously worse and more effective. And the more research we're seeing, the more that we're seeing that the virus can aerosolize, which is why the CDC is recommending face masks, because just talking and breathing can spread it, and it can stay in the air. Back to your question for, I mean, we're seeing a couple hours based on what the literature that I've seen. There might be something different out there, but I mean, it can float around. So that's why we got to, if you're in public, wear a face mask for you and for your family and for others.
Or you could just hold your breath. That will work too, right?
Well, I guess, but I don't know. How long can you hold your breath?
My record is like, I don't know, like a minute something.
Yeah, you should wear a face mask.
Yeah. Just like carry like a big tank of oxygen, just like every minute, just like.
No.
Yes, that's a very effective way of doing it.
Yeah, but you still got to breathe out if you do that. And when you breathe out, you're potentially spreading it to other people because younger people might not have symptoms. Yes. Oh, go ahead.
I see Olivia on this call too. Olivia, just with the craft club. The adults on this call are sick of me saying this, but my wife's put together videos on how to make the masks and everything. She clicked over 1,000 masks made and shipped across the world just yesterday. So if the craft club wants to get involved with that end of it, or in helping to create the materials or cut the cloth, she's had people doing that. She's mobilizing people, kind of like about 10 people who are helping out too. It's just been kind of a cool movement. So and often given to medical professionals like Mr. Lyons.
Wow, that's amazing. Tell your wife thank you.
I will.
On behalf of the world and all of us.
The Schwabi sweatshop is live and in action in between classes upstairs right now. She's working
got
hard.
The little kids working away.
Yes. You okay?
Okay, so we have a great question from Jocelyn. And hi, Jocelyn. How are you? So what makes COVID-19 different from other coronaviruses? Yeah, so that great question. The other coronaviruses that we think about are SARS, which, oh gosh, happened when I was like in middle school. So SARS, and then MERS, which is Middle East respiratory syndrome. Those are kind of the two ones that we compare it to. So SARS and MERS. And what makes this different is it's less deadly across the board age range, but much more infectious. And so kind of there's this balance between how deadly a virus is. Well, if it's really deadly, then it's probably unlikely to spread if it, is, really deadly early on, like SARS and MERS, which is why we haven't really seen them go global and stay global. But COVID-19 is able to, one, infect younger people and not have a whole lot of damage. And so then those younger people go out and spread it. And then the at risk, or, just by luck of the draw, some healthy 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds can get it, and then they get really sick. So what makes it different is the fact that it's way more infectious, way more able to spread across the globe and persist across populations. So that's why that's why we're doing all these things right now, because it's different than any other coronavirus that we've ever seen in terms of its ability to infect. So thank you for that question. All right, we got anything else? I don't want to I don't want to end it short, especially while, we have teachers and administrators on the line, but I also don't want to take up a whole bunch of your time. So, Frias, what do you think? Oh, yes, we got one from Olivia. Ooh, for cloth masks, how many layers of fabric should you use? I will never answer questions that I don't have the actual answer to. So I don't know the answer to that. What I would say is like probably the more layers, the better. The research that I have read is that cloth masks are better than nothing at all. They're not as great as like the medical, surgical masks, but cloth masks do provide some protection. And so my thought is the more layers, the better, but you don't want to be walking around with like a pillow around your face or something like that.
We got here coming up, I think.
And here's Mrs. Schwabro.
Hey guys.
Hello.
We're talking masks.
For cloth
Yes.
masks, how many layers of fabric? What's the?
I'm doing 2 layers of cotton, 100% quilting cotton, which is a tighter weave than like t-shirt cotton, and a layer of flannel. So I'm actually making them right now. Can you turn off the background so they can see?
Yes, 1 second. Background going off. There we go.
Okay. So for the masks, I'm taking 1 big piece of 9 by 15 quilting cotton and hemming both sides. Just a double rolled 1/4 inch hem, and then a 9 by 6 piece of flannel. This is actually somebody's like flannel bed sheet that donated it to me because I ran out of flannel again. Here, you can hold that. And then you're putting the flannel on bottom. You're folding that big piece over on top. So now the color is facing the inside, the flannel's on the bottom. And then you are sewing a 1/4 inch seam around the outside. And then you clip the corners. So I'll do that super, super fast.
Live demonstration. Love it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for all you're doing and have done.
Not a problem. The elastic that you put inside is 7-inch elastic. It needs to be a 1/4 inch or an 1/8 inch of elastic, or you could use ties. I'm using tons of shoelaces. They work great. So when you flip it inside out, it looks like this. So you've got the 7-inch elastic that you put into the corners. You've got the pocket that you're going to put the filter into, or if it's going to a doctor, they can put the surgical mask inside that. And then as you sew it, you need to put a nose piece at the top. I ran out of pipe cleaners, so I am folding like metal baking or foil baking tins. So I've got a ton of these like hardcore foil baking tins that I'm cutting, folding. You stick that at the top of the nose, and then you can sew right over it. And then you're just making 3 pleats. So 1, 2, 3. Doesn't have to be perfect. It honestly doesn't matter all that much. So you're sewing through these 3 pleats on each side, and then when you're done, this one's been washed, so it's kind of wrinkled, but it looks like that. And then you've got the filter pocket that you can stick a filter into. The nose piece is at the top.
What kind of filter?
And then
What kind of filter?
I am currently using HEPA air filters. I got a donation of a 100-foot roll from Air Filters Incorporated in Houston, and they're really cool. They're really thin. They kind of feel like recycled paper, but they're the HEPA like It's basically the material that's in an N95. My masks aren't as good as an N95 because they don't seal, but they do have the same filters. Yeah.
Can we put a video out to the seniors for who might be interested?
Yeah. Yep, it's on YouTube.
Cool.
The link's on my Facebook.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a long answer, but you got to meet Mrs. Schwabero. So that's kind of cool.
Yay. That was amazing. And the fact that there's a slip for you to be able to put in the filter material, that is so beautiful. Cool.
That's ingenious, actually.
It's gone through a lot of iterations. There's been quilting groups across the country collaborating on this, and this is about the 5th, 6th design, I think, that she's gone through. So It's been a cool team effort. And those people who haven't sewed have supported through materials and through donations as well. She hasn't been charging anything, but she hasn't been paying anything, remarkably.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Way to bring the people together.
It's been cool.
Give them a common enemy.
Nice. Orwellian testing. Orwellian, I like it.
Mm-hmm. Gotta be doing something with my spare time, right?
Cool.
Okay. So just looking through it, everybody that's on this call, I want to say hi to y'all. So Tassine, Jonathan, is that Jonathan Benitez? What up?
Yeah.
Sarah. Yeah. We got Olivia. Hi to you all. Let's see who else we got on here. Danny, Gladys, what up? Jocelyn. Did I miss anybody? If I did, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. But you all should have my Instagram. Please message me if you have questions. Please reach out. I mean, I know we all have resources, and there's a lot of information coming at us. So it's not like the information coming from me is the best or better than anyone's. It's just like another layer of support for you guys. And the big takeaway here is, as uncomfortable as it might be, you need to plan for what you would do if someone gets sick in your household. And you need to figure out the layout of your household, how it works, what rooms you'd use, because planning now can save lives later on. So that's kind of the big takeaway for me. And I love you guys. I just, I worry because I'm a worrier, but I worry about you guys and just being prepared. So that's why I did this. And I hope that some of that resonates with y'all. And I hope y'all are staying safe and your families are staying safe and asking questions if you got them.
Awesome. I think that was a great way to wrap things up there, Mr. Lyons. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody else, for joining us. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I think we've covered a lot of great things today, and Mr. Schwabro and your wife came in clutch, Mrs. Schwabro, with that last at the buzzer.
Yeah, without any notice. Like,
so awesome. Great job, everybody. We'll see you guys next week if we've got any other updates. If not, we might take a week off. We'll see. I don't know. But be on the lookout for any kind of news and notes coming from us.